Hello.
Hello.
My name is Arabeth Balasko, and I am an archivist and historian serving at the Greenbrier Historical Society in North House Museum. Today is Tuesday, February 15th, 2022, and I want to thank you for agreeing to participate in this oral history interview, which will primarily focus on your youth during the time you attended the Bolling School in Lewisburg, West Virginia. Before we begin, would you please tell me your full name, and if you can, the years that you attended the Bolling School?
My name is Elizabeth R. Keys. Elizabeth R. Kelly Keys. And I attended, I left in 1958, but I left in the 9th grade, but I attended before then, so.
So like your elementary school?
Yeah, I did. First grade on.
Okay, great. So first through 9th. Great.
First through 9th.
Thank you, Miss Keys. So I will be asking you a series of questions regarding your time at Bolling. And again, if there are some that do not relate to you, we'll skip over them. And if there are some comments or feelings that you have that you would like to share about your time at Bolling, please feel free to share those at any time during our chat today. I'll go ahead now and begin the series of questions. And once again, thank you, Ms. Keys, for taking your time to talk to me today and to share your story and your voice.
You're welcome.
So, Ms. Keys, can you tell me a little bit about what you do remember about Bolling when you were here during the 1st through the 9th grade?
It was a nice school. I loved my school. And I didn't have far to walk to school. And we always stood outside and said the Pledge of Allegiance. Excuse me. My first grade teacher always asked us what we had for breakfast. I used to slip and eat sugar babies in school in class. I loved the games, basketball and football, because we had social after the games. And that consisted of dancing and looking at the guys on the other team. I love recess. I loved it because we would go to I loved 4-H also because we would go to the camp in the summer for a week, and I had so much fun. I remember this one teacher, Miss Jackson, always said, a hint to the wise is sufficient. And if you was ever bad in class, Miss Coleman, she was school teacher, she would take a ruler and hit you in the back of the palm of your hand. And Miss Carter, she would give you a switch if you needed. But I remember, and I remember this guy named Franklin Johnson. He came to class one day, and I don't know what Franklin had done, but Mr. Stovall was going to give him a paddling, and when he said, "You're not going to whip me," so he left the school, and he never attended class again.
Hey. Hey.
He said, "No, you won't go with me." And, things like that. And I loved Miss Williams. She was a school teacher, and she did the hot lunch, and I always loved to work with her because it gave me extra food to eat because I didn't have a lot of, food and stuff. Yeah. And then I remember Miss Carter. She was an English teacher, and Mr. He was a football coach, Mr. I think his name was Branch, Mr. Branch. Alonzo Branch, right? And I remember Mr. Clay. He was the principal, and he would give you a paddling if needed. But I remember I got a paddling from Mr. Branch. I don't know what I did, but I did, and I got some switches from Miss Carter because sometimes I did bad things. I wasn't good in class, but things like that.
Well, Ms. Keys, thank you. So, Ms. Keys, I know you had mentioned that you enjoed working with Miss Williams. Is that what you said? This was the lunch you worked with?
Yeah, she was a school teacher also, but she did the hot lunch, and like I say, I always like to help her because I got extra food.
What kind of lunches do you remember, Ms. Keys? I know some folks that I had talked to said that they had, because when we're in the school, they were trying to close their eyes and remember where things were. And I believe, if I'm correct, that Mr. Gordon and Mr. Pryor felt that the lunch, there was like a outer building.
It was. It was an outer building. And, it was hot. I know it was good lunch, but I can't exactly remember everything, what we had. But I do know it was good. Good food. Good cooks.
Did you all eat in your classrooms, or did they have a space like sort of like a cafeteria, if you can remember?
I can't exactly remember, but I think it was somewhere there we eat, because I know we went. I don't think we eat in the classrooms. But I think it was there somewhere, but I can't exactly remember all that.
That's okay.
Exactly where. Alec and Marion might remember more of that than I did. Of course, Marion lived right beside the school. He probably went home for lunch. But no, he didn't live right there then. He lived up the hill.
I remember that some of the folks too had talked about the how you had mentioned also, Miss Keys, the Pledge of Allegiance and lining up. What all do you remember about that outside? Because I know that folks that I had talked to previously had mentioned, they would say the Lord's Prayer every morning and raise the flag, and there's a group of everybody standing out.
We stand in line and say the Pledge of Allegiance before we even went inside, and it was really nice. I mean, we had a wonderful school. I loved my school, and we had good teachers, and they were strict, but they were good. They were nice teachers, and I really liked it. I liked school though. I really liked it.
What was your favorite subject?
Spelling.
I like that, Miss Keys.
Spelling was my favorite and everything. But all in all, it was nice, I made good grades, and everything. But it was really a nice school. I liked it.
Miss Keys, I know you had also mentioned the fun times at the dance and the socials afterwards. Could you tell me a little bit about the socials, like where they were held? What you remember? Was there like a band that came in, or did you play records?
See, I think it more or less they played records and stuff like that. They would have. I was trying to think where they had it at. I think they had it at the school. After the games, they had that, and I really liked it because the other ball play team got to stay and had fun too. And then when we went to their school, I think they more or less had things like that, because I think all the schools just had socials, after the games. And it was really nice. I like that. Because we danced, had fun.
Yeah, that's right. What was some of your favorite songs back then, Miss Keys? Do you remember?
Oh, Lord, honey. No,
that's okay if you don't.
I can't remember. So many of them.
I know there was a lot of good music then, for sure.
No, but otherwise I can't exactly remember none
That's
of them.
okay. And then, Miss Keys, I know also when we were talking, you had mentioned some of the different teachers. So what, kind of reflecting back where you're at today and thinking about who you were then, what is something that bowling meant to you now that you're thinking about it in today's present state of Mrs. Keys versus who you are as a teenager? Because I know how you had mentioned even though the teachers were strict, they cared, asking you about breakfast and making sure that you felt you were taken care of. So what is maybe something that a word or a thought or a feeling that bowling means to you?
Well, that's a good question, because I love bowling. I really love my school, and of course it was all black. And I remember when the one guy came, he was a white guy, and he came. He was a student there, and I was trying to think of his name. But he was just one guy, remember, that came to our school. He was a white guy. But I can't exactly remember his name right now. But he was the only one that came. And then, of course, when the whites and blacks started mixing, I was out of school then and everything. But all in all, I really liked it, everything. And of course now, I'm so glad that you all still have part of bowling, because was a nice school. It really was.
Yeah, I know a lot of when they talked about the rebuilding of the school, because I know it would have been before you had been there, but I know that there had been a fire and different things, and the students, it said, had even helped to rebuild the school. So you really can tell that bowling meant a lot, and how you said you love the school. So in a way, bowling is love for you, and I think that that's a beautiful thing. So thank you, Ms.
Yeah, I was just happy to be able to get to go to school. See, my mom and them didn't have a lot of education, so I was just happy to go to school.
Yeah. Miss Keys, did you grow up in the area? I know that they refer to this area, well, they used to refer to this area as Gospel Hill. Did you grow up here as well?
Yes.
Could you tell me a little bit about the neighborhood and what you remember about
I lived
growing up here?
lived there on Walnut Street, right. I could sit on your porch, look at your porch and look right up at school, and I didn't have far to walk.
That's true.
But to me, it was a nice neighborhood. I didn't have, we had dirt road for a long time before they got a hard road. But all in all, it was nice. I thought, and everything. I mean, I thought I lived in a nice neighborhood. Never knew no different.
Yeah, it's a very nice neighborhood, and I know that some of the folks I talked to previously just loved this. They were talking about their love for like how the neighborhood really felt like a family.
Yep.
Because if you did something down the road, your mom or dad would know
exactly
about it
right.
before you even got home.
Yeah, because if you did something wrong and somebody else would get on you, you go home, you get a whipping from your parents, because it was like a family thing. And kids, those days, they had a respect for their elders. It was always yes ma'am, no ma'am. Nowadays they say yeah, no. But I mean, I still respect older people, and I'm old myself, But in those days they didn't. I mean, kids would be kids. But like I say, if you did something wrong, you was in trouble both ways. With the person and your home.
Miss Keys, what were some fun things that you used to do as a kid? Did you ride your bike, or did you go with your friends who rode bikes? Or?
Didn't have a bike. I we'd get together and just talk, the girls and I. Just things like that. We just get together and talk. But I didn't have a lot of toys like that, anything like that to play with. So mostly we just got together as friends and sat around and talked. That's about it.
Miss Keys, so I know that you had said that you had left school, you were here till 9th grade, and you were here during the period of segregation you had mentioned. So during that era, would you be willing to share with me some of your experiences of what you felt at the school or in the neighborhood? I know how you had mentioned there was one white student that went here. What did that student talk? I mean, did he stay away from folks? Like, what do you remember about that?
As far as I remember, he was a nice student. As far as I remember, he mingled, with everybody. And matter of fact, he lived over on Court Street. And I've still been trying to think of his name. I know his name as well as my own. But he was, a guy. He even had a sister, but she didn't come here and stuff. But yeah, he was nice, and nobody. I don't think nobody. Yeah, I think he got along with everybody.
That's good.
And nobody did anything, to show no prejudice or nothing toward him.
Oh no, I meant for him towards you.
Knowing he was fine. He was okay.
Good.
Yeah, he was pretty good. I think his name was Walt or something. I was trying to remember his last name.
That's okay, yeah. Maybe it'll come later, or even after the fact. So, Ms. Keys, what do you remember about that time in the sense of, like, going downtown, or were you, I guess, aware of the different, like, civil rights movements and different things that were going on? Did your teachers talk to you all about those types of things in class? What do you remember, if anything, about that period?
I don't exactly remember them talking to me about it, but I do know that black people couldn't, when I was coming up, you couldn't go into white restaurants and eat because they had the court restaurant, and I used to go to the back and get a hamburger or something, and I think it was like 25 cents then, and Manuel Motorcycle owned it. But we couldn't go in the front or nothing, to the restaurant like we do now and sit down and eat. We just had to go to the back and get sandwiches and things. But then, I guess you knew that was the way it was, so you didn't think about it. Because you knew that was how it was during that time.
I'm sorry that is how it was, and I'm glad that people have made strides in there.
Yes.
It's important to share your voice on that. So thank you for sharing that with me, Ms. Keys. And Ms. Keys, I know you said that you loved your school and you loved spelling. And could you tell me a little bit what you remember about your classmates? I know you had mentioned like some of your friends. I know you said you guys like to talk and go to the dances and check out the other teams and all that fun stuff. What are some things? Do you have a special memory or anything you'd be willing to share about that?
I had one classmate that sat in front of me, and he had I guess it was eczema or something, because he would scratch his neck like that. And I told him, I said, Billy, don't scratch and put that stuff on me. You know, you like that. So he did it, and I bopped him in the back of the neck. But I got a whipping. He actually did that. But I kept telling him, don't do that, Billy. Stop that. And he would just actually do it just to, you know. Yeah. And everything, but anyway,
well,
I got
I'm
in
sorry
trouble.
You got a whipping for that, because I would have done the same thing. So,
I know. But I had, you know, like I say, I had really fun with my classmates. We had a good time, all of us, you know.
Ms. Keys, did you all have any like Christmas pageants or plays or anything that you remember? Did you all put on anything like special events that your loved ones maybe came to for like a show or anything?
I'm sure we did, but I just don't remember. But I do remember the prom. We had a prom. We had prom, and I went to. Was invited by a couple guys different times to go to the prom. Then one time I was like a hat check, called a hat check girl. I had to dress up, but you had to, you know, put people's coats and hats and whatever they was wearing. I had to hang them up. So I liked that because I got to dress up. But and you see, but I don't know. It was the prom and everything. It was nice.
Did you have the prom here at Bolling in the gym?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. It was here at Bolling.
Oh, that's fun.
And I was trying to think of was something else we did, but it haven't came to my mind
That's
yet.
okay. Yeah, if it comes back around, you just stop me. And Mrs. Keys, I know you talked about the teachers and how they, you know, meant different things to you, and some were maybe a little bit more stricter than others. What do you remember about your teachers, or do you remember what subjects they taught? So, for example, I know that they had mentioned that you all had a library or a typing room that started. It didn't start out early, but it came later on. So I don't know if you were here when that happened. But what do you remember, kind of about your school and your layout and the teachers that they taught?
I remember Miss Carter taught English, and let me see. I was trying to think. I can't remember what Miss Williams and Miss Coleman taught.
That's okay. Was it Miss Jackson you had said who had given you that nice quote that you shared?
Yeah, she. I don't know. What did Miss Jackson teach? I don't know. I don't even remember. But she would always say, "A hint to the wise is sufficient." She always said that and stuff. She's just a little old lady, a little old dark-skinned, gray-haired little lady. She's just a little old sweetheart. More glasses.
Did she teach you when you were older in the high school age, or when you were younger in the elementary? If you remember?
It must have been probably when I was in the high school age. I think she taught that. Because I think Miss Coleman, I know Miss Campbell taught first grade. And I was thinking Miss Coleman, she was taught grade school. And I think Miss Carter taught more to the high school level.
And Miss Keys, was that when some of the buildings were also out where the parking lot area is now, or did you have the classes in here?
It was inside the school, inside Bolling, yeah. Yep, it sure was. Because I don't remember classes outside.
Yeah, I was trying to. So I know that Mr. Gordon, Mr. Pryor had mentioned it might have just been the cafeteria, like the outbuildings.
Well, they probably would have got me a better memory than I have, anyway. You know.
Hi, well, and memories are all relative, right? I mean, the different experiences and different styles. But well, thank you, Miss Keys. So, Miss Keys, I know you had mentioned your favorite subject was spelling. Do you feel have any like sort of, I guess, life lessons stuck with you from what you learned at school, or has anything, I know you had mentioned a lot about respect and the importance of that, which I think is also very important, and your teachers instilling that in your community, instilling that in you as an adult, as a child, and into adulthood. Is there anything that you can think of that's really kind of stuck with you all the years from your time at Bolling?
Well, I do know that they cared for you, all the teachers cared for you, and you got a good education with those teachers. I do remember that, but nothing in particular stand out. You know, they were all, I liked them all. Miss Coleman was the meanest. Miss Coleman was just kind of mean.
Hey, there's always one of them, right? There's always one teacher that you remember for that reason. So, Miss Keys, I know you talked a little bit about how you and your friends would get together and talk. Did you all ever talk about the civil rights movement together or segregation?
No, I don't. No, I never remember that. No, I never. No, because I think what it was, we just knew. I mean, we just knew it was there. You knew you couldn't go in them places, and I guess you just didn't think about it. I didn't.
Yeah.
As I can recall, I didn't really think about it or anything.
And Miss Cole, did you, I know you had said when you left school, did you stay here in Lewisburg in Greenbrier County, or did you move to another state?
No, I stayed here. Stayed here.
So have you lived here almost your whole life?
My whole life. And matter of fact, I live right on the same street that I lived on before. Before I got married, I lived when I was going to school. I lived right down on Walnut Street, and I'm still down on Walnut Street.
Miss Keys, what do you remember kind of about how the town has changed then since your time as a youth to today, if anything, or what's a restaurant or a store maybe that you really miss, or that, you know, brings back good memories for you?
Well,
if anything.
If the school, of course, everything's changed because Lewisburg has built up a lot. Got a lot of nice stores and antique stores, but I don't remember no antique stores when I was coming up, but I do remember they had the Kroger here in Lewisburg and A&P in Lewisburg and things like that. They was good stores, grocery stores. And then they used to have a Cato's downtown Lewisburg, but now it's in now it's up here. It's back, moved to Fairleigh, then it's back in up north on Lewisburg here. But otherwise, yeah, it has really built up a lot, you know, from when I was coming up. Because, like I said, we didn't have a whole lot of stores, but the stores they had were nice. And then there was Farmer Mac store. I liked it, and it's left. And of course, the Kroger and A&P in Lewisburg left up. They moved somewhere else also. Yeah. But I liked those stores in Lewisburg.
Did you, when you were younger, Miss Keys, did you do shopping like for your family, or where did you guys go when you were younger for the stores?
Went to, my daddy had died in the army, got killed in the army. He left me a little money, so I had, got a little bit of money every month, and I would go to A&P and shop.
Oh, the A&P?
It was the A&P. I used to go there and shop. But one of my favorite stores that left was Leggett's. I love my Leggett's. It was a clothing store.
Where was that at, Miss Keys?
It was down. It was on Main Street. Washington Street.
So where kind of the downtown shop
area?
Yeah,
it was downtown, but it was really nice. And it had a clothing store up the top, and downstairs, like, the store they sold shoes. And down in the basement, like, they had material for sewing and stuff like that.
That's nice. Trying to think of a store with multiple layers today is hard.
So it had 3 layers.
I like that.
But I loved that Leggett's. It was nice. I used to get, when I shopped, I used to get Christmas time. They had put a lot of stuff on sale, and I would get stuff for my kids for the following.
That's smart. That's smart.
Get bigger sizes.
Yep. Smart shopping, Miss Keys. Miss Keys, when did you go to that store? Was it in like the 60s or the 70s or 80s? When was it downtown that you remember?
Honey, I can't remember
That's
dates.
okay.
I can't remember dates.
But it was when you had children, though, that you
Yes,
went there, not
yes,
when
I
you
had.
were
Yeah,
little?
I had children. Yeah.
That's nice, though. Yeah, I was just trying to think of when, the downtown, how it's changed so much.
But I never, never had reason to think of dates, or anything. That's why I don't think of the dates.
That is okay. That is totally fine. It's all relative to your own experience, right? Miss Keys, I know you also talked a little bit about the sports and watching the games. Where did you, were sports sort of influential in your life, or what did you like? I know you said you liked kind of cheering the teams on.
Yeah.
Did they play down at the park, the Dory Miller Park, or where did you guys go to watch the game?
Basketball was here in the school. We had one of the nicest gyms, and football was right back here on the field. Back they played football back there.
Did they have bleachers or different things for you guys to
sit
in?
Yeah, they did, But I just loved. I love basketball. I like, but I'm football was okay. But I say I just like to go. I really don't know a whole lot about sports.
I hear
but
that.
I still like to go. But my children all play sports. All different kinds and stuff. But I just like to go look at the guys.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. That was a fun time. Hey.
And they had the boys had the tiniest little old shorts. Them little things was so short on them, when the little shorts, the basketball shorts, they were so tiny. They were really short.
And Miss Keys, when you, I know you talked about just some of the different activities and pieces of the community, and how has your community changed since you've lived here? You said almost all your life down different areas a little bit, one house or another. How do you see that your community up here on the hill has changed over the years?
It's changed. A lot of people have beautiful homes up here now. It's just a nice, clean. It's just nice. Lewisburg is just a nice, clean town.
Yeah.
And our neighborhood and stuff, people have really nice homes. Where years ago they had lived in shabby homes, and stuff. But now that it just has really grown so much, and like I say, people have got really nice homes and stuff now, and keep the grass cut and all that stuff. So it's just really nice. Nice neighborhood. Do
any of the homes that were here when you were younger, are any of those still standing, Miss Keys, that you know of?
Yeah, Helen Wally's home. It's on that in the Warner Street. It's still there. I think. And then the Scenes is home. Let's see, it's still standing. But those about the only two that I can think of that's still there. And they're old, but they're still there.
Do you remember if a lot of the folks that you grew up with still live in this community too? Or do you feel that a lot of people have kind of moved on, or it's changed
a lot of them has moved on, a lot of them have died.
Yeah.
But I don't have a whole lot around that I grew up with.
Yeah.
They're mostly passed on or moved away, or a lot of them moved away.
Different areas. But it's nice. I'm glad. I think it's a beautiful sentiment that you've seen it, like you said, when you were a kid to now. And it's so fascinating to think about how much really has changed, but how much is also still the same. It's still your home,
yes, and I love my Lewisburg.
Yeah, it's so beautiful up here. Thank you, Miss Keys.
Oh, you're welcome.
So, Miss Keys, what do you feel is, if anything, are some important values that the members of the Bolling Community School kind of imparted on you? I know you talked about respect. Are there any other values that you've kind of carried with you throughout your life that you learned here at Bolling?
Just respect others and stuff. And then, like I say, they had ended up with the alumni had a bowling. We would have bowling meetings every month. And it's right now we're still in this group, but the main person is Marin's mother. She was the backbone. And now most of all of the alumni, I think all of them have died now. So I don't know if we're going to continue or not, because I think Neva Joe was the last one. And we had the bowl, like I said, we had meetings every month. We did, as a matter of fact, we contributed to this school and stuff because we took dues up every month. We gave scholarships to students every year. We give a $500 scholarship. Even my grandchildren got scholarships, but you had to be like go to church. You had to be, I think, like an A student and did things for the community and stuff like that.
Well, that's great. That's so important, Miss Keys.
But the scholarship ended last when Janice and I talked, and I gave. We decided to give the $500 or $600 to this school in memory of us.
That's great.
Yeah, not this school, but this whatever you call this.
The community school. And I think that's great because again, it's always the bowling school. You know, I mean, it is, and so I think that's a great thing that you all are still able to get together and celebrate the successes that you've become.
This summer, hopefully, Janice said we'll probably have a picnic or something, cookout or something on the field to use the rest of our money, you know. And then I think that'll end because, like, all of us now are getting too old to do things, you know, because I would go out and campaign. I'd go to homes and stuff. I'd try to get money for the school and different things and sell tickets and stuff, but now everybody got too old really to do that stuff. I mean, I can't stand and cook like I used to. We used to every month we'd go to each other's homes or something and fix their dinner when we had our meetings and stuff. Well, I can't do that like I used to because I got arthritis in my knee now and stuff, and things have changed and other people are sickly. The other people's those members, they're sickly too. So we probably gonna have to end it this summer.
But you will always have carried on the legacy forever and imparted that on to the next generation then.
Well, Marion kind of wants to keep it on, but like I told Marion, I said, Marion, everybody careful now. Nobody can, do that now. Yeah, and like I told him, I said, sometimes some people didn't want to do things anyway. There's some that did more than others, and stuff like that. Oh.
Well, sounds like you all worked really hard to, again, keep the memories of that going and all the legacy and the hard work that you've done for your whole lives. And I think that's a beautiful thing. So congratulations on that, Ms. Keys.
Well, thank you, honey.
You guys have worked hard. So.
Well, thank you.
Ms. Keys, is there anything else you would like to share with me that you think is important for people to understand and reflect upon regarding African American history here in Greenbrier County?
Oh, let me see. Well, like to say, Black Lives Matter, but to me, all lives matter. And I just want everybody to get along and love each other, and that's what I hope. I hope black and white and all kinds of all the other races that we could just get along and be happy, and not fight each other. That's what I'm hoping for. And one day, maybe this that'll happen. Everybody can just hold hands and love each other.
I hope one day that does happen too, Ms. Keys.
It would be so nice.
It would.
Because, when I was coming up, and when my children, most of my friends now are white people, but when my kids come up, they brought white kids to the house, and my kids would go to their homes, and the kids didn't. It's the adults, the kids didn't know no better. They loved each other, but it's the adults, that sometimes, cause the kids to be that way.
Exactly. Prejudice is taught, it's not born with. That's exactly right.
But like I say, my friends, I still got white friends. We go out and eat together and everything, we still do. Yeah, matter of fact, my birthday, Nancy and one white woman named Karen and Phyllis and I went out for my birthday in November. We had lunch at Food and Friends. We all went together.
That's a good place to go have lunch.
Yep, it is. I love my Food and Friends.
I do too. Miss Keys. I do too. So thank you, Miss Keys. I think that's a great sentiment.
Okay, thank
and
you.
Ms. Keys, what these are kind of questions that aren't bowling specific. That if you want to answer, that would be great. If not, that's okay too. So Ms. Keys, what was your main field of employment, or what got you started with your tradition or skills or jobs or different things that you were interested in?
Well, when I was 12 years old, I started babysitting for like 50 cents an hour.
Oh, wow.
And then after that, when I got older, I went to the girls' college, and I worked there as a waitress, and I worked there till, I think it was like, I worked there till it closed down. I think it closed down in 72.
Yeah, I think
like
that's right. Mm-hmm.
Then I left there and went to Fort Savannah, and I stayed there for about 4.5 years, waitress at Fort Savannah. And then, as a matter of fact, I was supposed to have been a maid at Fort Savannah, and they called me that morning. They knew that I had waitressed at the girls' college, but it was a different waitress. Everybody got the same food, you know. But the Fort Savannah called me that morning, asked me would I come in as a waitress. Well, I went in as a waitress, and I didn't know you're supposed to keep your tips. I gave my money to the owner. I didn't know.
Did he give it back to you?
No, she didn't give it back to me.
Oh, well, that's
Miss Detch. It was Miss Detch.
Well, shame on her.
Fort Savannah Inn. Then I found out afterwards that you keep your tips. And so I worked there about 4.5 years, and then I went to the girls' college. I don't know, it might have been 76 or whatever. I worked at the girls' college for 39 years. I just retired 7 years ago.
Oh, that's so great, Miss Keys.
And then I was a waitress for 18 years up there.
Wow.
And then the owner's daughter came in, Nancy Morgan, and she, within a month, she said, you don't need to be doing this. You've been here so long, and I've been watching you. You're so too smart to just be doing this. So she said, I want to make you a supervisor. And I told her, I said, well, Nancy, I don't know about that. And I said, I'll try for a month. And if I don't, she said, no, try for 2 months. I said, okay. And I liked it. I did. She taught me a lot. I did the schedule and was their boss and everything.
That's great,
and then I taught myself how to give everybody their own job positions, what they had to do and stuff. So I really liked it. And so when I left 7 years ago, I was hosting in, and I had got to the point where I got to, I think about 2 years before I retired. I was still hostess and waitressing, but I gave up waitressing. I was in the 70s waitressing. I was 70-some years old waitressing.
That's right.
And and hosting, and but the only thing I still probably would be there, but it had traded hands. They sold it to Sparrow Huffman, the General Lewis, and she lets a lot of people go, but she kept me on one. Yeah. And I worked for about 2 weeks, and I ended up getting sciatic nerve. And I had to take off from work and stuff. And then I realized I just couldn't do it. So after I told them I was off for a few months or something, that I told them that I couldn't do it anymore.
Well,
so,
you have, dedicated your years to service, and that's so important. And again, paying it forward always.
And I sometimes I work 7 days a week, and I went to work sick or well. I always went to work. Same way with my husband. He worked at the Greenbrier 51 years, and he retired 7 years ago in June, and mine was in September. And that man, he worked, he was about 76, 77 when he quit work.
Oh, wow. What did he do at the Greenbrier?
He was assistant manager of the supervisor of the dish room.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Where he did silverware and stuff.
Yeah, that's a big job.
Yeah, he had a big one.
I mean, really, that's a lot of people to care for and look over. So that's great.
So, like I say, I told Nancy, I said, I wish my grandmother and mother could see me now. I told them, I said, with me being a little boss and stuff, I said, they'd be so proud of me.
And they would, and I'm sure they are. Wherever they are,
they're
you're carrying them
looking
with
down.
you. That's right. They are with you, and they are proud of you.
Yeah, so I love that job, though,
Yeah.
I really did.
I mean, you probably got to meet all kinds of people.
Oh, I did, and they Sparrow told me they're still asking about me. I said, oh, okay.
That's right, your legacy lives on. I love that.
And the manager, Nan, the one that gave me that job when she came, she took over. Her and I, we still friends.
Good.
We the matter of fact, it was her and her friend and all of us that ate lunch that day.
For your birthday?
Birthday, She said when she comes and brings me a Christmas gift and put it on outside if nobody's, if I don't answer, if she come early, she leave it outside the door and everything. I love her so much. She's a sweetheart.
I'm glad that.
And then the other manager, Mr. John McElhenney, he was a really nice boss. And his wife died a few years ago. I was friends with him, and him and Phyllis and I and Nan. Sometimes we still go out to dinner.
I like that.
Yep. Matter of fact, we take turns.
That's right. Let another person wait on you guys, and you get to relax and enjoy.
Mr. Mike took us out the last time, then we took him out. So I think it's his turn now.
That's right. Remember, you remind me.
And he's 80-some.
Oh, again, good friends. It's always important to have lifelong friends.
Yes,
So, Miss Keys, my last question for you is, what advice would you give to the younger generation?
Go to school, stay in school, get an education. If possible, go to college. After that, try to get your master's, and if you can, go for your doctorate. And because that's what my grandchildren are doing, and I have some kids. Some of my kids went to college and everything, but no, I think just about all my grandchildren have been to college, and now so hopefully I can work on the great grandchildren when they get old enough to go. But education is really important though for the young generations now, and I wholeheartedly hope that they will get an education because it means a lot. Nowadays, sometimes you can't even get a job with college education, washing dishes. It's very important. Yep, it's very important. I didn't have a lot of education, but thank God he blessed me with good brains.
Yes, it's keys. And you
thank God for that.
Took care of yourself and worked yourself through it.
Thank God.
Yes.
But I tell him, put God first, though, because he's the one that can get you through everything. And pray. Thank God for things and stuff like that. I'm try to go to church if you can. And everything, Sometimes they can't, but if you can, go to church. I know when I worked on Sundays, I couldn't go to church, but I went, as soon as I had vacation, I was right there in the church. But now I can go to church every Sunday because I'm not working. So I try to go every Sunday.
Well, that's great.
If possible. And everything. We have church activities I try to be in. Matter of fact, Saturday, I think they called me and they want to, the girls wanted me to cooks. They want to try to start the women of the church having eat night and stuff like that. So hopefully this will be our first time. So.
Well, that's exciting.
I'm excited to go.
Well, I hope there's some good food and some fun fellowship.
I haven't been to Cooks yet, but I'm wanting to go, so this is really good for me to be able to go.
Yeah, to get out. I like that, Miss Keys.
Yeah.
That's good.
I like going out.
Yes. Hey, I do too, Miss Keys.
I love eating.
So do I. And enjoy it till your last breath, and I will too.
I will do that.
Well, thank you again, Miss Keys, and thank you for speaking to me today and sharing your story and your voice with us, and your time was very much valuable.
Okay, Beth, I hope to help some.
Oh, it does, Miss Keys. I appreciate it so much.
All righty.